Good morning, humans who like the card games at Daddy Plays. He's Kaiba the Pug here. And we're here on the Sunday at the park. And we just finished this Sunday park trip. And now it's time to film the Super Deck Sunday. Sunday. And I'm going to be here to help my daddy film the Super Deck Sunday. Like always, because I'm awesome. I'm the possumist puggy. Yes, I am. And so, Daddy, he's gonna introduce the deck, and he's got lots of stuff to talk about for all you car fans out there today. So, you guys got a big video today. But Daddy promised me he would try and do it as quick as possible because I want to go home. So, we're going to do these with some speed, but we're also going to have action-packed content. Yes. All right, Daddy. I think I did a good introduction. Now get on with it.
Yes, Kaiba. As you say, you did a fine introduction, my boy.
Thank you, Daddy.
So, if you've been paying attention to our latest series on the channel, the 1 to 100 series, that would be, you will know that we recently finished this deck. And while I did put out a short on Friday, I believe it was, pointing out that there was a minor deck edit to the deck and introducing the poll for the few days or a couple of days that I was putting it up, which the results of the poll are in an image right here. And as of recording this, as far as I'm aware, I didn't actually check. Okay, to be fair, I checked this morning when we started the park trip, so I haven't checked since the park trip, so it might have changed. But I'm presuming that since the start of the park trip, it has not changed, and the voting is still the same as it is now. And therefore, I am also here to announce the next deck that we will be building. So, and finally, I also have a thing to open with you guys because my brother owed me some money for the Mother's Day gift that I got for my mom this year. It wasn't like a big thing. It was only like $15-20, but he had a little bit left over on the gift card from the Dollarama that my aunt had gotten me. He got one too. And he didn't finish using his yet. So he gave me the leftovers of his because he knows that I always go there for treats for Kaiba. So Kaiba got some treats, and we got one extra bundle to open. So we will be doing that at the end of the video. So for those of you who have been watching the series, this is going to be kind of like a review, but I'm also going to do it as a quick summary, to the best of my abilities, of the Pranamicon Sky Rampart deck. This is my You Can't Break My Walls deck. And yeah, you're just going to chill there today, eh? That's fine. I know, you're very tired. It was a long walk for you. This deck is a very entertaining deck for me because, first off, I built it entirely based on this silly mechanic here. Each player can only attack the nearest opponent in the chosen direction, and Planeswalkers controlled by that opponent. So when this comes into play, I'm going to pick a direction, left or right. Each time it dies, I'll probably switch directions just to mess with people. And then whichever direction we're going in, I can only be attacked from one side, and I can only attack people on one side, which is fun. So if you haven't seen this deck yet, because you haven't been watching this series, first off, why aren't you watching this series? You're making us sad. Sad emoji here. Sad. And then second off, this is just a really fun, gimmicky kind of deck that once I can actually afford some sleeves, I definitely want to sleeve this one up and actually give it a shot. But I currently only have 2 packs of sleeves left, and both of those I'm trying to save for my 2 avatar decks that I want to build in the near future. So, we're going to look at the lands first. You'll notice a theme in the lands is that they all have either towers or walls to them, to a certain extent. Fair enough, this is a gate more than a wall, but I mean, it's still technically there was a wall there at some point. And I thought this was a really interesting deck for that reason. I kind of like this one for that reason. I included a couple of lands here, as you can see, that are clearly not Well, that one's not in universe. This one is in universe, but really it's not, to be perfectly honest. Like, Aether Drift is a weird-ass series. But the idea of this deck is that it is full of entirely walls with the exception of one creature. And I'm going to basically just defend myself most of the time. And how I win, you'll see in a few minutes. But basically, the win con is kind of annoying for everybody too. This is going to be one of those decks that makes people a little bit salty at the table, to be honest, when they play against me. But it's not like crazy strong per se, which is why it's fun to play against, in my opinion. But maybe I'm wrong about that. Who knows? Time will tell. I even put in some guild gates just because they all have walls. Mystic Monastery, Temple of False God, and Perilous Landscape. So for our land total, there are 37 lands in this deck, which I think is a decent total for this deck. It's actually probably one of the higher ones that I've built in recent times, so I'm pretty happy with that. We will do the creatures next, probably. I think that's the best way to do it. I want to try and save the win con for a little bit later, just to see if you guys can guess what I'm going to do. Those who have actually seen the series already, don't spoil it for the others, but if you haven't seen the series, the 1 to 100 series, then you're not going to really know exactly what I'm doing with this deck yet until I show it off. So I think that, yes, that's what we're going to do. Obviously, I'm spoiling Censor there, but that's fine. So, for the creatures, the one creature that is not a wall, I will show first, because I think that this is probably one of the best creatures to add into this deck. It is Wingmantle Chapelain. And so what I love about this is it's a 0/3. It does cost a little bit to get into play. That's true. But when it comes into play, I believe it counts itself. I could be wrong. It doesn't say others, so I think it will count itself. So when it comes into play, create a 1/1 bird creature token with flying for each creature you control with Defender. So I have the 1/1 bird token over here. And I will basically just be making a ton of birds based on however many walls are currently out. The best part about this card, though, is whenever a creature with Defender enters the battlefield under your control afterwards, you also get to make a bird. So as long as I can keep this on the battlefield, and if I get it out at a decent time, I can get a whole flock of birds and then keep adding to that flock progressively each turn. And every creature in this deck does have Defender, so it will trigger constantly. Rubble Fort is an awesome one to combo with this one, actually. Originally, I had a different card in here, and I'm so glad I switched it. Defender Reach, so this is one of the few that actually can block stuff with flying if I get attacked. Surprising how many walls do not have Reach. Really surprising. But what I love about this is all my creatures have haste as long as this stays on the field. So all the birds that are coming into play will be able to swing right away as long as this is already on the battlefield when this comes in. Pretty cool. Mnemonic Wall enters the battlefield. You can return an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand. That is going to become crucial later on. So the 4 in the blue, while it seems really high for a 0/4, is totally worth it for what that ability is there. Wall of Deceit, 1 in a blue. You can morph it by paying 3 to put it face down and then paying 1 blue to flip it face up. But it really does nothing when you flip it face up. What's interesting, though, is it becomes a 2/2 creature that can attack. So, as long as it's face up, it's a 0/5 with Defender, because walls can't attack. They have Defender. Technically, this one might not trigger, actually, the bird. I don't know if it actually counts. Because it's so old, I don't know if there's been a reprint of it that added Defender to it. I never bothered to check. I forgot. So, that one might be one of the only walls in here that won't trigger the Wingmantle Chapelain, but still a decent card all around. Coral Colony, Defender, pay 1 in a blue, tap, and target player mills X, where X is the number of creatures you control with Defender. This is a fun alternate win con for the deck. If I can get a whole bunch of walls out there and I can just start tapping this once per turn and then making people mill themselves out before they can defeat me, that is also a really solid way that this deck kind of performs. Again, adding a lot of salt, but I just think that's a fun card. Fogbank is probably the best card in this deck for sure. Flying, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to and by this creature. Basically, I can use this to block anything with trample. I can use this to block anything that is like the most dangerous creature that's coming at my. And since it has flying, then it also deals with all the evasive nonsense too. So basically, as long as I'm not dealing with something that is unblockable or that has like shadow or something, I'm pretty good. Wall of Mist is a solid one in this deck. For 1 and a blue, you get a 0/5. Pretty good, pretty good. Mirror Wall, it's a little expensive to put into play, but it can attack per turn as though it wasn't a wall if you pay the white. And being a 3/4, that makes it a pretty decent one to attack with. So, again, we have a few creatures that can attack, just not very many, because most of them have Defender. But it is possible. Wall of Runes, really cheap one to put into play, and it lets you scry one when it enters, which is solid. 0/4 as well, so nice. Academy Wall is a little bit more expensive for a 0/5, but again, giving you a great ability. Whenever you cast an instance or sorcery, you can draw a card. If you do, you discard a card. There's an insane amount of instants and sorceries in this deck, so that is going to be very much a positive one for me. Glacial Wall is a really nice one, 0/7 for 2 and a blue, and an older card as well. I like that a lot of the walls that I own are much older cards that I was able to finally put into a deck, so I'm pretty happy with that. I know this one's a 93 to 2003, and I think that's a 93 to 2002, but they're still pretty old overall. That's still like 23, 24-year-old cards. And this one was only printed in 95, so this one's 31 years old. Dazzling Ramparts, 4 and a white for a 0/7 with Defender. Pay 1 and a white, tap this, and you can tap a target creature. This one is a little more of a just include because I needed to add more walls in here and I didn't have enough walls myself. Basically, every wall that I own minus maybe 2 are in this deck. That were in the colors that I had available and colorless. There was one wall that I didn't include because if I did, it would do absolutely nothing in this deck because it required a trigger that I didn't have access to. And then the other wall that I failed to include was just a generic card. I can't remember why I didn't put it in off the top of my head, to be honest. Wall of 1,000 Cuts is one I really enjoy. Defender Flying, 3/5, and you can pay a white, and then this one can attack as well. So there's another creature that can attack that makes, I think, 3 or 4 now that we can attack with. So it is plausible to hit my opponent with this deck. It's just not as readily available to me as it would be in a deck where I'm swinging with creatures without Defender. Prison Barricade. We just skipped by Angelic Wall because it was just Defender Flying 0/4. Sorry. 1 and a white with a kicker 1 and a white. If you kicked it, it comes into play with a +1/+1 counter on it and can attack as though it were in a wall. So it becomes a 2/4 that can attack, even though it's a wall. So another one that's pretty decent in this deck. Defender, attacking creatures you control get +1/+0. I like this in particular because all my other walls are going to get an attack boost. Most walls, as you see, have 0 or very low attacks, so that's pretty good. But it's also going to be very beneficial to me later on when I reveal the actual win con of the deck, per se. Wall of Omens, Defender. When it enters battlefield, draw a card. Pretty simple, straightforward. Nice advantage there. Defender, pay 2 and a white, tap target creature. So another one that will let me just, like, if I'm being attacked by somebody in particular that I don't want to deal with necessarily, I can easily tap these ones and put down the creature before the battle phase, so I don't have to deal with them, provided I can target still. This is actually my favorite wall in my entire deck. I've had this wall for forever. Like, this is in like my older collection for sure. It's not something that I've pulled at any time recently. And I've always liked this card and just wanted to be able to include it in something, but didn't have anything to put it in. So Defender Flying and Shroud, 1 white and blue for a 0/8. Insanely strong, and it's going to hold up really well, which I like. The only downside is I can't target it myself with anything, so there is like an artifact in here, for example, that boosts defense by a few points that I can't, or toughness by a few points, I mean, that I won't be able to attach to this, unfortunately. Crashing Drawbridge 2 for a 0/4 with Defender, and then you can tap this and all your creatures get haste until end of turn. So that's just another one that helps me with the comboing with the Wingmantle Chaplain. If need be, if I can't do it with the Rebel Fort, I also have this one. So pretty good, pretty good. Coastal Bulwark, Defender, gets +2/+0 as long as you control an island, which I most likely will. And pay 2 to tap and surveil one. I don't know how often I'm going to take advantage of that, but it is nice to have the option available. Just making sure I'm not going too long. Defender, tap, pay 1 and tap to mill a card. So another one that's just going to rub a little salt in the wound, per se, for my opponent. Towering Viewpoint. This one's nice because I can give a creature flying until end of turn for 3. So, spoilers, the pile just fell over. Ah, the pile just fell over. Not good, not good. Pile down. It's okay, Kaiba. Sorry. Go back to sleep. It does cost a little bit to get the ability off, but I feel like it's worth it in this deck for what my strategy is later on, as you'll see. Gleaming Barrier 2 for a 0/4 with Defender. When this thing dies, you get a treasure token. That's basically the main reason why I wanted to include this one, because I like the extra token that I get out of it. But I mean, a 0/4 for 2 is not going to be something I kick out of bed in this deck. Another 0/4 for 2, but this one's really good because it allows me to make a creature unblockable. So I like that. It costs a little bit to do that, but it's worth it in this deck again for the particular reason I want to win. And finally, Roving Keep, another big boy. For 7, you get a 5/7 with Defender, and then if you pay 7 on your turn, it becomes a 7/7, gets Trample, and can attack as though it doesn't have Defender. So another one that you can attack with, which is nice, and it gets really beefy. Costs a lot to trigger the ability, but I mean, if you already paid 7 to put it into play, chances are you have the 7 available on the following turn to trigger the ability. So not really the end of the world. Alright, now we want to do all this stuff, and then we're going to reveal the actual core strategy of the deck, which is all these cards here, which is a pretty decent pile, I think. So these are all a variety of instants and sorceries, and a couple other things, actually. I forgot to take a couple of things out of here, so those two need to go over to this pile as well. Is there anything else that needs to go over to that pile? No. Okay, we're good. Here we go. Counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. Pretty straightforward. What I like about this one is it does have a cycling ability, so if I'm stuck on landfall issues, I can draw and discard. Devious Cover-Up is a nice one because it counters a spell, and if it's countered, it gets exiled. And I can also shuffle 4 cards from my graveyard into my library. That is the best reason why this card is being included in this deck right here, because I can get 4 of these cards over here back into my library for reuse. The more I can use the cards over here, the better it is for me. So that pile is really important. As just the cost to play this card, you have to return a creature you control to its owner's hand, and then you can counter a target spell. This one is going to be very nice in my deck because it's going to do both functions that I want it to do. It counters something, so I can protect myself, but it also gets rid of something that I have on my side of the field that I might not want to keep. I like this one. And there are going to be things on my side of the field that I might not want to keep. In case you haven't figured out the strategy yet, I'm giving you a big hint. Counter target creature spell or planeswalker spell unless the controller pays 3. If it's countered, it gets exiled. Cancel, straightforward. Aetherize, returning all attacking creatures to their owner's hand. I thought that was like crazy on flavor for a Walls deck. So, I mean, that just had to be included. To be honest, I think that's probably going to be like the cover photo for this one, if I can find it later on. Mystical Retrieval, 3 and a blue. Return target instant or sorcery from your graveyard to your hand. As I mentioned before, that's very important in this deck because I want to get these back. The fact that I can flash this back so I can do that twice is amazing. Mystical Confluence, I can counter a spell up to 3 times. I can return a creature to its owner's hand up to 3 times. I can draw a card up to 3 times. Or I can do a mix of any of the 3. For 5, that's a really good card value, in my opinion. Psychic Impetus is one of those cards. I know that I've said many times before that I just really, really do not like Goad. And actually, why is that missing? Hold on one second. I just want to find that other one and make sure that I add it over here because it should be not in that pile. It should be in this pile. So should some of these other ones. The rest of them can actually stay there. That's fine. If anything, the shiny impetus shouldn't have been in this side, but that's okay. I actually have two shiny impetuses. Or no, I have a shiny impetus and a psychic impetus. I was spoiling this one. So I know that if you've followed my channel for a very long time, you know that I hate goad. Goad is like the absolute most disgusting mechanic in the game, in my opinion. I know that it is a very hot take because most people really enjoy goad, but I just despise it. However, in a deck where I'm doing very little attacking, this is very positive for me. And in particular, this goes really well with the strategy that I have planned down there because the enchanted creature gets +2/+2, and then depending on when it attacks, the blue one lets me scry 2, and the red one gives me a treasure token. Both are insanely good value in this deck. Next up, we have Angelic Purge. As an additional cost, you have to sacrifice a permanent, and then you can exile an artifact, creature, or an enchantment. Very nice, very nice. Again, getting rid of something that I might not necessarily want to keep. Till end of turn, a creature I control can tap and then return another non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Again, very important in this deck. A Quarter Shield, 0. This is the one I was talking about before. It gives Vigilance and +0/+3. So I can boost any of the walls that can attack with this one, and then they can actually defend me the same turn as well. Or I can attach this to my commander, for example, and make sure my commander can stick around longer. Peel from Reality, return a creature you control and a creature you don't control to their owner's hands. Again, when you see what I'm going to be doing in the strategy, you're going to understand why I'm trying to return so many things to people's hands. Whirling Strike. Target creature gets +2/+0, first strike and trample until end of turn. That's going to be very valuable in the strategy that I'm playing. And Boros Charm is an amazingly versatile card for this deck because it can protect all my walls. It can give a creature double strike for some reason. Or it can deal 4 damage to a player or planeswalker. Probably going to get rid of the planeswalker, to be honest. Planeswalkers are one of the most difficult things to deal with in the game, in my opinion. And so anything that deals with them on a very simple basis like this is nice to have in the pocket. But I do like the fact that I can protect all my walls as well, if somebody tries to board wipe me or something like that. Alright, getting into the strategy now. The bulk of this deck strategy focuses on one particular thing, but I'm just going to rearrange things just a little bit because I did mean to actually reveal a few more cards first. I think we're good now. Okay, let's go with it like that. So I wanted to show you these ones first by accident. I forgot. Gaseous Form, I can put that onto any of my walls and prevent them from being destroyed by battle damage, which is nice. Combat damage, I mean. Vow of Lightning, equipped creature gets +2/+2, has first strike and can't attack me or a planeswalker I control. Not that I have any planeswalkers in this deck, but this is just very solid value in this for me. Call of the Full Moon is a nice one because the equipped creature gets +3/+2 and has trample. At the beginning of the upkeep, if a player casts 2 or more spells in the last turn, I have to sacrifice this, but when you see what I'm doing in this deck, you'll understand that I don't really care if I have to sacrifice this after I've used it once. Wingspan Stride, what I love about this is I can return it to my hand, so I can enchant a creature for a turn, and then put it back in my hand so that the value isn't given back when things get returned. If they get returned. Trade Helm, and now here's where we're going to get into it. This is what the point of this deck is. I am going to take the creatures from my opponents that are the best attacking creatures. In particular, I want to steal their commanders as often as possible and swing at them with their own commanders and win the game. So making things unblockable, which is why I had the lands that I have, including the Rogue's Passage. I forgot to mention the Rogue's Passage as I flipped by there. I was going through there so fast at the end there. Wait, isn't there a Rogue's Passage in here? There was supposed to be one. Son of a diddly, did I take the Rogue's Passage out? I didn't mean to if I did. Could have swore I had one in here. Huh. I'm gonna have to go home and find it. There's definitely supposed to be a Rogue's Passage in this deck. I'll take out the Perilous Landscape if need be. Anyways, there was a suspicious bookcase in the Rogue's Passage. That was what was going to make my creatures unblockable. But basically what I want to do is I want to hit people with their own commanders and take them out via commander damage while protecting myself with all my walls. So, what I like about these cards is they're all going to let me take something from an opponent and give them something either that I don't want to keep myself or that, if need be, that I can just always take back later at another point. So we've got Trade the Helm, exchange creature or artifact you control with an artifact or creature an opponent controls. It does also have cycling, which is nice. Claim the Firstborn, gain control of target creature with mana value 3 or less, return it to untap it, it gets haste, and then it goes back to the opponent at the end of the turn. So that's why I wanted to return a lot of things to my owner's hand. Same thing here, except it costs 3 less if you're targeting a token, but I'm not going to be doing that more often than not. The creature I get control of gets +2/+0 and haste until end of turn. Also gets untapped. Shackles of Treachery. Gain control of target creature, untap it, gets haste. Whenever that creature deals damage, you get to destroy equipment attached to it, which is neat. Gain control of target creature until end of turn, untap it, gets +2/+0 and gains haste. Involuntary Employment, gain control of tap, blah, 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 blah. This one gives you a treasure token, though. Act of Treason, usual. Furnace Rains, this one, when it deals combat damage to a player or a battle, you also get a treasure token, which is nice. So another one that gives you a treasure token. Add 2 mana of any one color, which is pretty cool. This one's nice because it doubles as a land, so I actually have 38 lands technically in this deck. But I'm going to use this more often than not for its spell ability, of course. Sibling Rivalry, this one gives me a Power Stone. Not that I really need the Power Stone, because there's not a lot of artifacts in this deck, per se. But there's a couple, but not enough that it's really worthwhile for the most part. If anything, that's something that I can exchange, though, easily with the other card over here. Trade the Helm if I want to get an artifact, say, or something. Although, I think I can trade a creature they control for an artifact I control, potentially. I might be wrong about that, but I might be able to do that. Doesn't really work. The way it's worded, it makes it seem like it's possible. Systems Override, gain control of target artifact or creature, untap it. It gains haste. If it was a spacecraft, I don't care about that because I'm not really going to do that probably. Hijack, gain control of target artifact or creature until end of turn, untap it, gains haste. Next up, we've got Forger's Foundry. This one's fun because you can tap it for blue, so you always got extra blue available. But you have to use it on an instant or sorcery spell. Well, we've got lots of those. And then you can exile that spell instead of putting it into his owner's graveyard as it resolves. So if it's mana value 3 or less, which a lot of these are, I think there's like 5 or 6 of these that are. 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 of them are. So 6 of those could be exiled, and then I can pay 3 and 2 blue and tap this and cast any number of those spells without paying their mana costs at sorcery speed. So essentially, as long as I get rid of like a few of these, I can each turn pay 3 and 2 blue and cast multiple copies of them, which is neat. So it can steal more than one creature. I love this artifact. Double Vision is another one that I love for this deck because of the same idea. I can do each of these spells twice in a turn if I play them first, as long as this is out. So I can take 2 things per turn with 1 spell. Shifting Grift is another one that's fun because it does the same thing that the other one over here does, but I can spree it, which means I can actually take 2 creatures, 2 artifacts, and 2 enchantments if I want to, or just whichever ones in particular I want for paying the amount that's necessary. And then finally, the last card in this deck is Self-Reflection, which I just create a token of a copy target creature that I control. Essentially, what I like about this is I can flashback it as well, so I can do it 2 times. And I can make a copy of one of the creatures that I've stolen, so I permanently keep it on my side of the field if I really enjoy having it. pretty good deck all around, I think. Really not sure what happened to the Rogue's Passage, though. Definitely going to have to take that out and find the Rogue's Passage and put it back in here, because that was supposed to be in here for that very specific reason of being able to hit my opponent with their own commander. So when I get home, I'm going to look for it and find it and add it back into the deck. Other than that, though, that's all I got for you regarding the deck. Now, regarding the next chapter in 1 to 100, I have, as I shown you earlier, the results, we had a tie, which is really interesting. So we can either do, we could do either of two commanders, and so what I've decided to do is I'm going to do one and then the other. And the first one I want to do is going to be the Gates deck, because I'm just really interested in building this right now. I'm kind of excited about this. I feel like it's going to be an easier one to build because it kind of builds itself, since a lot of the cards that I need all involve triggering off of for some reason, having a gate. And what I love about this, though, is this deck has got a really neat commander. This deck's commander is Cody Vociferous Codex. So, for 3, I get to put in a 1/4. And then I can no longer cast permanent spells. So once my commander hits the board, I can no longer cast any more creatures, enchantments, or artifacts. So basically, I'm going to be casting a lot of instants and sorceries in this deck. And the goal of this deck is going to be basically to try and get all the gates as quickly as possible and put them onto the field so that I can win. Pay 4, tap this, add Wooburg, cast your next spell this turn, exile cards from the top of your library until you exile an instant or sorcery with lesser mana value. Until the end of turn, you can cast that spell without paying its mana costs. Then put each card exiled this way to the bottom of your library in a random order. So my commander is essentially there to let me trigger off a whole bunch of random like instants and sorceries that are going to let me search for lands and put them onto the battlefield. And this is going to be kind of like a landfall-y deck without a lot of landfall triggers, because the focus isn't so much on actually triggering landfall abilities as it is, again, just putting all the gates in and winning with Maze's End. So as long as Maze's End doesn't get destroyed, I can win the game with this thing. And that is the whole point of the deck, and it's just going to be very, like, memey. And if it gets destroyed, basically the entire deck strategy is blown, which kind of sucks. But it's going to be like a very, like, bracket 1, bracket 2 kind of style deck. And I think it's going to be fun to build, and I think you guys are going to enjoy seeing how it comes together. With that said, the other deck that was chosen, as you guys saw, is Jorn, God of Winter. What I like about him, when he attacks, untap each snow permanent you control. He does count as a snow permanent, so he will untap himself. And he will untap all my snow lands, which I have like 4 or 5, so I don't have a lot, which is nice, so I'll get access to all the snow lands. The other thing I like about him is he also has another side, which I didn't show before, and that is Cauldring the Rimstaff. It's 1 blue and black for a legendary snow artifact that taps and lets you play a target snow permanent card from your graveyard this turn. When you do, it enters tapped, which is unfortunate, but it lets me revive essentially any of my snow permanents, which is going to be fun. Because if I decide to play this side, then the secret commander of the deck will take over, which is Narfi Betrayer King. Narfi's fun because all my snow and zombie creatures are going to get +1/+1. So this is going to become a very winter is coming kind of deck. And the other thing is you can pay 3 winter mana, and then he can be brought back from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. So essentially, if the staff is out, I can do it for free. But if the staff is not out, I can pay the 3 mana and bring him back. Or if I want to use the staff for something else, whatever. So I really like him. And I really like this guy, and I think that the snow deck is going to be a fun one to build, but I'm going to save that one for the next time, because when we get to the hot months of the summer, we're going to want to think about winter, and that's what I figured will make this fun. So we're going to start with this one, and I'm going to start the first episode of this either this week or next week, depending on my upload schedule and the storage unit stuff. Alrighty. Yes, my boy. I know. It's going kind of long, isn't it? It's not that long. We're only 35 minutes. And finally, we're going to wrap up with the package. Do you want to do the opening of the package? You did it pretty good the last time. You're going to come over? You're going to come over? Yeah? You're going to come over and do the opening? You're so good at the card openings, I know. I know, you're the very best at the card openings. Yes. Yes, I see the puppy that's about to walk by. Alright. So we've got the package here, and the livers are at home, which you'll see Kaiba get some livers and some treats after the package. At the end of this video. I will crack it for you, Kaiba, so that we can look and see what we got. See if you did good again. Seems we got sleeves this time, so we're not going to be getting something super cool, probably. We got white sleeves, though, which is kind of neat. Because we had mostly black, and we have one pack of green. So now we have white. I'm using all these for tokens, so I kind of like that. And then we've got our 3 packages here. We got a pretty thick one, a moderately thick one, and a thinner one. So, Kyle, we'll start with the thick one. What do you think? Yeah? You're watching the little meeting that's going on over there? I don't know what they're meeting about. Maybe it's like an Alcoholics Anonymous thing or something. I don't want to bug them. We're starting with a 10 card pack. Very cool. You gonna do the openings? I got it, Daddy. I got it. I got this. You give me, you get the cards. Because I think the cards are important, but not really. Toss that aside. Okay, Daddy. We're starting with a Paranoid Perish Blade. That's a new one for you, Daddy. 2 and a white for a 3/2. It gets +1/+0 and has first strike as long as there are 4 more card types among cards in your graveyard. That's kind of neat. Swordwise Centaur. 2 green for a 3/2 with a lot of flavor text and no ability. And I'm not going to read all that, Daddy. That's too much to read for me. Are you having troubles? You having some trouble staying up there, little one? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh baby. Oh baby. Snake of the Golden Grove. Ooh, this one's kind of neat. 4 and a green for 4/4 with tribute 3. Daddy, that's my job. I'm sorry, Kaiba. Yes, tribute 3. And then if you don't pay the tribute, then you get 4 life. But if you pay the tribute, it gets 3 +1/+1 counters on it. So it becomes a 7/7. It's kind of queasy. Vampire Zeal. 1 white, and then the card creature gets +2/+2. And if it's a vampire, it gets first strike. That's pretty good. Charge. All your creatures get +1/+1. Marusa Brute. 2 and a green for a 3/3 with some flavor text. McKindy Aeronaut. 1 and a white for a 1/3 with flying. He's an ally, Daddy. You're going to build an allies deck eventually. That's a good one, probably. Ooh, look, Daddy. That's a nice, pretty one. Intangible Virtue. Creature tokens get +1/+1 and have vigilance. Ooh, that's a good one. We just finished upgrading the kitty deck, but maybe we should put that in the kitty deck or something else. Maybe in the dragons deck. I don't know. It's a very good card. And we end on a Plague Rats, which is a nice one too. 2 in a black. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of Plague Rats in play. Huh. But you can only have 1 Plague Rat. So I guess in Commando it's a 1/1. It's not very good for Commando. Maybe you can make copies of it somehow, Daddy. Okay, that was the first pack. Now, the second pack is the lands. We're back to some regular stuff that Daddy used to pull. Yes, this package, maybe you have a rose package in it for you, Daddy, since you need another one. Forest? Yeah. Another forest? Yeah. forest? Oh my goodness, that's a forest. But I like this one, Daddy. That one's pretty. Ah, buddy. Plains, mountain, and island. All basic things this time. This is a very basic packet, Daddy. What do you think, Kaiba? Is the last one any good? No, probably not very good, Daddy. 4 cards with a guaranteed foil. No, probably not very good. It's nothing saying that foil is going to be a good card either. I think the foil is the front one. Yeah, I think the foil is the front one. Okay, so we're going to go back to front. Ready, Kaiba? Yes, Daddy. Sotai Flare. Naga Shaman. 3/4 for 3 in a green. Whenever a creature you control with toughness 4 or greater dies, you get 4 dice. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a really good one, Daddy. I know a good deck for you to put that one in. Yes. Retraction Helix. Blue. Until end of turn, target creature gets tap target non-permanent owner. Return target non-permanent to his own hand. Hey, isn't that the one that was in the Walls deck? That's a good one. Actually, that might be better than the one that's in the Walls deck. Let's check before we reveal the last 2 cards. Is that the exact same one, or is that a better one? I'm not sure. I know. Okay, now it's just being silly. Why can't I find that card? All the walls are at the front. Ah, Banishing Knack is what it was. So no, not the exact same one. But one that does the exact same thing. And for the same price. So that's pretty cool. Maybe we'll put that one in instead of Peel from Reality. Although Peel from Reality does let me hit 2 targets, which is kind of nice. Alright. Sorry to have delayed the reveal of the last 2 cards. Yes, Kaiba, I know, you want to get going. Swarm Guildmage. Daddy! Sorry. He's a 2/2 for black and a green, and you pay 4 in a black, and you tap it, and all your creatures you get +1/+0 menace, which is pretty good. Or you can make 1 in a green, and you tap it, and you get 2 life. Both of those are pretty good abilities, Daddy. And it goes in an Elfie deck. You have to finish your Elfie deck again soon, so that could be a good card. And the Halloween card is a Pestilent Wolf. Ah, boo. I figured it was nothing. And I was right. Alright. I'm done now, Daddy. And you're done too. So, finish this video so we can go home. I want to go home. Alright. Thank you for watching our episode of Super Deck Sunday. Sunday. When we get home, I will give Kaiba some treats and I will film that for you guys to see at the end. But aside from that, much love to you all from Kaiba the Pug and myself to you. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your week. And thanks for watching. Love you. Bye. Do you want that? Yeah? Plus, I got you meat stick and elbow. To thank you for helping me with my stuff. See? What do you think? Some livers too? I suppose that's fair.
Yes, I know. You had to wait a while. That Mother's Day message took effort for me to edit. Yeah, some livers too. Okay. You gonna eat your tweets? When you're good and ready? I see.